Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby. And today, I got one of my favorite personalities with us called Chanel West Coast. We have been a fan of her music. We have been a fan of her center seat position on Ridiculousness on MTV. She has an amazing personality. And now, guess what? She's going to be center stage. Center stage. She is the face of California Dreaming on the Bigo Live platform. Her first solo show, right?
Yes, this is my first solo show, my first show hosting all by myself. So I'm really excited to be doing it all by myself and get the chance to talk a little bit more.
Okay. So California Dreaming, you're like getting all up in people's business as only you could do,
Yeah,
with the slickness and having fun with it.
yeah.
Cats like Too Short, Snooki, DJ Paul, Meta World Peace, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, on the lineup. Um, what's the most satisfying thing about being having this platform for yourself now?
Honestly, I just love having a platform where I can get to bring guests on and talk to them and interact with them in a way that I haven't really been able to do. Obviously, I'm on Ridiculousness. We have a ton of guests, so I've got to meet a lot of cool people. And it's the show Ridiculousness is about the clips, and especially when the guest is there, it's all about the guest. And I don't really get to interact with a lot of these guests the way that I would like to. Sometimes I would love to ask them so many more questions, especially musicians who I really look up to. So I wanted to have a platform where I could talk to people and kind of just get to know them on a deeper level. I think it's really cool to get to know artists on more of a level than just the now. I think a lot of interviews are always like, oh, what you got coming out? Like, what are you working on now? Da, da, da. But I wanted to kind of, go back to the childhoods of all of the guests that I bring on the show. And we kind of talk about what their dreams were from when they were a little kid to what their dreams are now. And it's funny because most of the people I've brought on so far have, pretty much always kind of had the same dreams, and that's what they ended up doing. But I kind of wanted to do that because I thought it'd be cool to explore and see, maybe some people never thought they'd do music. Maybe some people never thought they'd be an athlete. And just to kind of see what the process was in their life to how they went from, what their dreams were as a little kid to where they are now. And I wanted to make an inspirational show to inspire others to be able to, just kind of think outside of the box and hear other people's stories and how they made it. And I want to inspire other people to kind of, go for their dreams. I think a lot of people get scared to do that. And I've never been scared. I've just always went for it. So I think that that's something I wanted to share with the world.
Okay. You from my experience, you've always been on the other side, and now you get to flip the script from being the person interviewed to doing the
Yeah.
interviews. And amazingly, you have the skill set that you're changing the game and turning interviews into conversations. How did you develop that style?
Um, I've always just been good at talking. I've always been a friendly person. I'm very like, my mom always told me that when I was little. She's like, you would literally go up to people and be like, I love your outfit. I like your hair. I've just always been like that type of person. I like to compliment people, make people feel good, and I've always been a good talker. And so I think that this is a good thing, for me because I've done a lot of interviews and a lot of great interviews, but I think that, I wanted it to be, like you said, a little bit more like, not like a person's doing an interview. I think sometimes the thought of doing an interview can make people nervous. So
Right.
like, I want it to feel more, it's like, we're just kind of hanging out. You know what I'm saying? So it's more conversational. That's how I try to make it.
I think it always turns out better. You get a chance to get all the juice out the meat, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, for those of you who are not all vegan, excuse me. Yeah,
I'm
but
not vegan.
okay, I'm a vegetarian myself, so we're having this great conversation. I love it. I love it. Um, I got to ask you. We've interviewed before, but it's always been audio. So now I get a chance to see you face to
Yeah.
face. I want to just look into your eyes and tell me what was the defining moment that really brought you to the entertainment industry at all?
Well, when I was really little, and it's actually a crazy story. I love to tell the story. Sorry, let me drink a sip of water real quick.
Do
Hold
your
on.
thing. I'm glad you're the only one on camera because I'm sipping water over here on the regular.
Yeah, I'm a little thirsty. Sorry, my bad. So, it's actually a really funny story. I love to tell this story. So, We filmed Ridiculousness for a long time in a different studio, but we started filming at a new studio, which is where we film now. And when I pulled up to the studio, I was like, wait a minute, I know this place. And that studio, it's pretty crazy. So when I was a little girl, the very first job I ever had doing anything in the entertainment industry, I was a hip hop dancer in a rock video, which I know it sounds weird, but if you see the video, you'll understand. Basically it's like little crazy like Catholic schoolgirls like gone evil in like this crazy rock video. And so I'm one of those little evil Catholic schoolgirls, and like we do like a whole hip hop dance holding like machine guns. It's pretty crazy. Um, but the studio where I filmed it at, that's where we film Ridiculousness now.
Okay.
So it's pretty full circle. Like when I pulled up to the studio, I was like, oh my God, like I remember being a little girl and filming here. And that moment as a little girl, I remember I had to film all day one day, and then another day I had to film till like, my mom was friends with the band. I don't even think I should have been filming that late. I was filming till like 2 a.m. I was a little kid. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I just remember like as a little girl knowing like I love to do this. And like I didn't mind, like being on set for so many hours. Like I just enjoyed it. And I kind of knew from like that moment, like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be on camera. I want to be dancing, singing. I wanted to be the one who was starring in the music video. I think that's actually where my obsession with making music videos came from.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. So now you're center stage holding it down on Bigo Live, California Dreaming. How
Yeah.
did you discover the Bigo Live platform, by the way?
I heard about it through a friend. And it's funny because I was already talking about like I wanted to do a show like this. I didn't really know exactly if I wanted to do a podcast or just a live stream show, but I kind of liked the idea of live stream because I'm like, okay, you can interact with your friends. I mean, with your fans, your friends too, in the moment. And I think that's really cool because the podcast is more just for the fans to listen. And
Okay.
so with the live stream platform, like I think it's cool to be able to interact with people. And then when my friend told me about Bigo and showed it to me, I was like, okay, this looks like a lot of fun. Like
Good.
it's like, there's all these different things going on. It's like it's very entertaining and very interactive with the fans. So that's what I liked about it. And I was like, okay, this is the perfect platform to do it on.
Okay. So you're shooting in LA,
Yeah.
live streaming 60 minutes every Wednesday, 4 o'clock
Yes.
PST. That's 6 o'clock Central and
No, it's actually 7 p.m. now.
7 p.m. now. Okay.
Yeah, the very first episode we had earlier, but I had so many fans on the West Coast tell me I'm not off work yet. Like you should do it later. And I realized, obviously I have a very strong fan base from Ridiculousness, and our show is at nighttime. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Maybe I should do it a little bit later, not conflicting with Ridiculousness, of course. But I felt like I should, do it a little later to get all the fans there.
Okay. 7 o'clock now Pacific.
Yep.
All right. That's 10 o'clock on the East Coast,
Yes.
8 o'clock Central.
Yes.
And I'm going to tune in. I haven't had a chance to take a look, but I just know that you're magnificent, having watched you perform, having watched the music videos, listened to the music. I'm like, you're just a natural and
Thank you.
a great personality. So this is a natural transition. What is the most satisfying for you about doing this show?
Oh, the most satisfying for me. Well, I love to be on the other side of interviewing people and the one that's asking, questions and getting to listen to people's stories. I feel like I've done so many interviews. I'm like, I've told my story over and over. I'm getting bored of telling my story over and over. Like, let me hear somebody else's story. And even like hearing Too Short story, like him talking about when he was a little boy and he was at his house and his grandpa had a bunch of instruments, and he's like, nobody really taught me how to play the instruments, but he's like, I would always play around with them. And he had this fascination with being in a band. And at first, that was his first fascination with doing music, was he was like, I want to be in a band one day. Little did he know he'd end up being, front and center and the lead.
Right.
But like that was what really cool for me. And like I like to hear people's stories and get to know a different side of them that I didn't know. Even people who are like I'm kind of cool with, that I've already hung out with several times. Like we wouldn't really get into talking about some of these type of things just hanging out. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool to get to know like a deeper side of all of the people who I'm bringing on the show.
Okay. Speaking of interviews, you've been interviewed throughout your career by everybody, their cat, uncle, and dog.
I
What?
have. You're so right.
What is there a question that journalists have yet to ask you that you've always wanted to answer?
Dang, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. I don't know really. I mean, nobody really ever asked me when I first started rapping. I don't think anybody's really ever asked me that, which is weird. But like, I did literally start writing poetry and little raps when I was like 8 years old. It was around whenever, in elementary school, when they start teaching you about all the different poems, like the haikus and all that.
Right.
I developed this fascination with poetry. English was always my best subject. I learned how to read and write at like a real young age, and I just loved poetry. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I just loved poetry, and yeah, it's like I started writing these raps when I was so little. I remember going to visit my dad in New York, and my dad was a DJ, and he had a bunch of like mix CDs that were like just dance beats and just beats. And so sometimes I would play these little CDs he had, and I would just put on beats, and I would start writing little raps to them. And I was literally like 8 or 9 years old when I started doing that. So
Wow.
yeah, nobody really ever asked me that, and I think that's interesting. That everybody always asks like when I first started recording and stuff, but that's really when I first started writing raps, was like that age.
Wow. All right. Let's check your memory. You're still young.
Yeah.
Bust one of them raps that you started in at eighth grade at age 8. You got one? Mine was roses are red, violets are blue. I don't know what the rest of it was.
Oh my God. I know I can't even tell you, you're gonna crack up because this also shows that I guess I was meant to be like in a comedic light as well. I made up a joke with my friends, the Oscar Mayer like song or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
I can't really rap the full song now because of certain reasons, but
Right.
I basically redid the Oscar Mayer song, and then
Okay.
I would rap it to all my friends. And they used to make so much fun of me. They're like, "Girl, why are you rapping this Oscar Mayer Wiener song?" But like, I don't fully remember all of it. The words I remember, the I can't really.
It's all good. No worries. But you know what? Maybe you'll revisit it. Maybe you revisit your old scrapbook or journal and pull it up, and we'll get a chance to talk again as the season progresses and grows. Because I definitely want to make sure that we keep abreast of what's going on with the show and elevate
Yeah,
it. You know, um,
yeah. Thank you.
you're so worthy. You're so worthy. You've been true to the game. People, have a certain outlook of people who do things on MTV. But
Yeah.
as I look at your history, I'm like, you've been a truth sayer, in your music,
Thank you.
which is a oh, hello, Adam. Okay, we're gonna let Adam in as well. I'm not sure who Adam is, but welcome. Uh,
Oh,
um,
that's my PR.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was saying that you've been a truth sayer in your music, and I think
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And last time we talked, which was like 4 or 5 years ago, actually, I think, you dropped some dimes and some gems, and I was like, man, I really want to get a chance to face with this person. And I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do it when I was in LA, but now that
Oh,
we're here, is there anything? What's the most important thing that you as a multi-hyphenate entertainer and
mhm.
host could impart for those that are trying to follow in your footsteps and navigate the maze of the industry?
That's a great question too. Because I at first always just focused on one thing, which was music. And music somehow led me to being on TV on Rob shows. Very long story. But from there, I realized, okay, well, I'm on TV now. I'm on a funny show. Um, Let me expand a little bit on that. And um, then we ended up getting ridiculousness after Fantasy Factory. And I kind of got thrust into doing so many things at once because my music didn't take off as fast as the TV stuff, but that was always my main passion. So I stayed doing it at the same time. And that was never easy, especially when we filmed Fantasy Factory, because that was like a full-time job basically. Um,
Yeah.
Ridiculousness, we got a lot more free time because the show is fast. We filmed like 6 episodes in a day. No big deal.
Okay.
So so yeah, it's just it's not an easy thing. I will say this though, whatever's your main passion, I think you should focus on that the most. Because I've always stayed true to music and it's always worked out for me. Like I started getting for instance, I started getting offered to do these hosting gigs at clubs because of just being on TV. I was like, what do you do when you host? I was like, I'm like, what's hosting?
Right.
So that's when I started being like, well, I do music. Can I get on the mic? Can I drop my music in the DJ booth? And and I just stayed, persistent with the music, and that somehow kept falling, making everything fall into place with it, even though TV was in the forefront. So I think that if you end up doing a couple different things, always stay true to like what you're best at and what your passion is, because at the end of the day, like you have to be true to who you are because you're going to shine the most whenever you stay true to doing what you're meant to do. A lot of people
Mhm.
told me I should do stand-up comedy, and I'm like, I don't think so. I was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I think I should stay true to doing music because I know I'm good at music. Like I didn't grow up practicing comedy. I grew
Right.
up dancing and singing and performing in talent shows. So I'm like, I'm gonna stay true to that, and everything else I think will fall into place.
Okay. Okay. As you started to emerge, what was like the greatest challenge to your intestinal fortitude? What made you doubt yourself that you had to overcome?
Oh, I mean, I still feel like I'm going through that every day.
Mhm.
um, uh, I don't know. I get a lot of resistance with my music still, even though I've stayed doing it. Done collabs with big artists. Like I've done a lot of things that you'd be like, okay, people should be 100% acceptance of this situation already, but I still get a little bit of resistance, and we're not fully there yet. Um, so yeah, so I think that that's just the hard part. Really, is just like just staying persistent and true to what I want to do, even though I still get a lot of hate. That's really just that's the hardest part every day, is just staying focused and not letting the hatred get to you.
Okay. The mental health issue is like a big subject between like the elite athletes and elite entertainers such as yourself.
Yeah.
How do you maintain your mentals?
I preach about meditation. Obviously, I preach about having a relationship with God as well, but meditation helps a lot. Like I have these little meditations I listen to on Apple Music or the Calm app. There's a bunch of different ones, but you got to really be able to let your mind go. And I got ADD, so if I could do it, I think anybody can. I think that just taking like an hour at least every other day. I would love to do it every day, but I'm kind of busy. At least every other day though, to just like meditate and like let your mind be free. It helps you a lot with like just like finding mental clarity. I think that there's so much stuff being thrown at us on social media and like the news and just media period. There's like so many apps, there's so many you know what I mean? Like there's just so much stuff being like put in your head that
Right.
like I think you need to like get away from that a little bit daily or weekly and meditate. And whenever you do, like when I started meditating, I kind of like, I don't know, I just felt like more mental clarity. Like I said, I have ADD. Sometimes it's hard to focus. And the more I meditate, the more I'm able to like just kind of see things for what they are, and really just stay focused.
Mhm. It's with a schedule like yours. I mean, I have a bad schedule, but I know yours is crazy, crazy,
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It's hard sometimes to take that deep breath and catch up with yourself, re-meet yourself. You know what I mean? And I think it's important that we force the world to let us have our time. Um,
Yeah,
you know, so very important.
it is.
I've had you on here for quite a while. I know that you're busy and you're probably tired of doing interviews because
No, it's all good. You've
you
asked
know.
me some great questions. I love doing interviews when they're like a little bit different than the last.
Okay, well, thank you. What's the most important thing we should know about Chanel West Coast?
The most important thing people should know is that fame has never been my focus. That's never been my focus. I have a passion for music, and that has somehow led me to fame. And even though some people from the outside, might see things like it looks like it's easy. I made a song called Easy, which does not mean my life was easy. It means
Right.
now that I'm doing a little bit okay, it's a little easy now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what I really just want people to know is that that's fame has never been something I've wanted. Like I just wanted to be a successful artist and somehow became successful on TV first. And I want people to know that I had a lot of, hardships and struggles too. I want other people out there to be able to relate to me and know that like you can overcome hard stuff in your life. And if you're a good person, which I think is also why I've like a magnet had good things happen to me. If you're a good person, I think that everything will work out for you in the end. So I just want people to really know that.
Dope. I got an off the wall question for you. Coming up, my struggle meal was Doritos and cream cheese and orange crush soda. What was yours?
I would say I've had a lot of just cheese quesadillas in my life and a lot of top ramen.
Man.
Those are my two, the top ramen in the little cups where you just, put the hot water in or whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty much a pro at making cheese quesadillas with tapatio. That's a very popular thing for the single mother kids out here in LA. Like, my mom was always working, so it's like we would just have to make easy stuff like that. So
okay, yeah. I found nacho cheese Doritos and cream cheese by accident, and I always loved Orange Crush, and that became my go-to meal. I tell you, you can make $2 go so far.
You can. I love cream cheese too, by the way. I feel like hot Cheetos and cream cheese and Fritos and cream cheese are also very good.
There you go. All right. Is there anything that you wanted to cover that I may have neglected?
I mean, I think we covered everything. I definitely just want to reiterate to everybody watching and, just go watch the California Dreaming live stream. I hope it inspires people. And that's really like what I want to do. I just want to inspire others to follow their dreams and go for it. And all the guests are really good. Like I managed to pull some great guests together, which I'm really proud of and happy that they agreed to come on. So yeah, you guys should check it out. It's all the guests are very entertaining. They all have great inspirational stories. I was, a little picky with who I picked. Like I know lots of people and I hope that the show continues to go on. And, I hope you guys all enjoy it when you watch it.
Man, Chanel West Coast, this is somebody we're going to be talking about well into the future. Not just for her music, but her personality. She's great. She's, effervescent. They call it effervescent.
Thank you so much.
And I just love talking to you. Wishing you much continued success. You know what I mean? And anytime I could support, I'd love to do that. So stay in touch with us and I'd love to have you back sometime.
For sure. Let's get it. I will definitely come back whenever you invite me.
I appreciate it. All right, everybody. The Hype Magazine live sessions. Chanel West Coast. The show is California Dreaming. It's on Wednesdays on the Bigo Live app at 7 p.m. Pacific now. All right.
10 p.m. East Coast.
10 p.m. East Coast. All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Have a good day.
You too.